On today's Chasing the Game, we have Walleye head coach Pat Mikesch. We talk about his career, his time in Toledo, and getting ready for the playoffs. Chasing the Game starts right now. All right, welcome into Chasing the Game. I'm here with Walleye head coach Pat Mikesch. Pat, thank you so much for being here. This is a really interesting time in the season. You guys are getting ready for the regular season to wind down, playoffs starting. Just emotionally, what's this time like for you guys?
Well, it's nice to be back home. We've been on the road for the last 2 weeks, there was some good team bonding and some exercises we could do that way, getting ready for the playoffs. But to get back into the Huntington Center and have a couple of nice practices and kind of feel our own ice again it's great. So I know the guys are excited to get through this weekend and really focus on the playoffs.
Yeah, you guys clinched the Central Division again, second year in a row. Is that any sort of surprise? Was this kind of the goal all along that you guys would get back to this position?
Well, I mean, you worry about it. I mean, we know we have some great opponents in our own division, and so we got off to the strong start, which is so important. And then we just kind of kept building on it, and we never had one of those segments that we were chasing it. We just kind of kept building as a group, and it was great because so many of our guys were able to go play in the American League at the same time, and we were able to get some fresh players in and kind of just, see what our end of the year roster was going to look like.
Yeah, at this point, you guys have 16 losses, I think, of the season. 11 of them, I think, are overtime or shootout losses. What does that say about this team? Because that says to me that you guys are not an easy out at all.
Yeah, no, we're a resilient group. I mean, we know anytime we're going to be in our building, we're going to have such a great atmosphere and get that extra energy level. But I really love the way we traveled this year. I mean, we were just as strong on the road as we were at home, and that's a key to playoff success as well. I mean, because we're going to have to go into some very tough environments and come up with those tight games, which we've been facing all year long.
Yeah. Does the approach change at all from last year to this year, the way you guys are approaching the playoffs, or is it about the same?
Well, I think every year that this time of the year comes around, there's an expectation that, when are we going to, cross the finish line? And the big thing for us is just to focus on that first round. It's such a long ways to think 2 months in advance to trying to play in the finals. So we have to prepare ourselves for what will be a tough first round and focus on just the little things that have made us successful all year. Our special teams have been sharp all year. We've had great goaltending. We just want to remember what got us here first off and then focus on that next game in front of us.
Yeah, you guys clinched the playoffs. I think it was like mid-March or something by the time you guys clinched. What has this last month been like? Do you guys feel like, the foot has kind of come off the gas a little bit? Is it still pedal to the metal? How do you guys sort of approach that last month when you know you've already clinched a spot?
Well, every game we were playing was against opponents that were fighting for playoff spots or fighting to be higher in the division. So it made you focus on that game at hand and that task. And I thought a great challenge for us was going down and playing Florida, the 3-time defending champ, and playing them in their building for those 2 games. And we used it as a measuring stick, and we treated it and respected it like the games they should have been. And to win a game 1-0 and lose that second game 3-2, it gave us a great feel of what that playoff atmosphere will be.
Yeah, I want to take it back. You were in the USHL for over a decade. What was that time like? What is that league like for the people who don't know? Obviously, that's a very competitive league full of guys who eventually go on to play in the NHL, but you're getting them as teenagers. Explain that to me.
Yeah, it's the schedule is very similar to our own. You're going to play. They play 62 games compared to our 72 games. A lot of weekend matchups where it's going to be 2 or 3 games on a weekend, but it's as young as 16-year-olds, as old as 20-year-olds. All of them are going on to play Division I hockey when they're done in the USHL, and they're going through their NHL draft years. And so for them, there's that little bit of time away from home, a little bit of different pressures that they face. But, I coached against, I don't know how many, guys that I watch in the NHL every night now and got to coach a large number of them myself.
Yeah, Green Bay Gamblers was the organization. You were there for a few seasons with Derek Lalone, former Walleye head coach. What's your relationship like with Derek? What was it like playing under him?
Yeah,
or coaching under him, rather.
Yeah, working with Derek, anybody that remembers his time in Toledo, he's just a great communicator and a fun person to be around. And, I learned a great part of, how I approach the everyday aspects of coaching from Derek in those 3 years. And we had a lot of great times together. We still stay in touch on a bi-weekly basis. Obviously, when he was with the Red Wings, we got to spend training camps together the last couple of years and everything. But, he's one of those people that, whenever I'm going through something with our group, he's a great resource for me.
Yeah. Is it just a matter of time before he's back in the NHL? I know he was with the Red Wings for a little bit. Obviously isn't now, but how soon before maybe he's back in the NHL?
Yeah, anybody who's won Stanley Cup championships as an assistant coach is going to have that opportunity put in front front of them immediately. So I think it'll be up to Derek what he wants to do next. Sometimes it's waiting out a head coaching cycle, or sometimes it's taking an assistant coaching position in a place you really want to be.
Yeah. Before the USHL, you were playing professionally for over a decade, or about a decade there. You were overseas. You were in Germany. What's the German hockey scene like? What's it like playing overseas there?
It was fantastic. We went over saying we're going to go for the 1 year. Our oldest was a baby, and we just thought it was a cool opportunity. And we had just finished up 3 years playing here in North America. And once we were there, we just loved the lifestyle. And it was a great opportunity to kind of grow together as a husband and wife. And, with our second one was born there. And then we probably wouldn't have left if it wasn't the fact that they were going to be starting school and being full-time students at that point. We felt that it was time to get back to the States.
Yeah. What's this region mean to you guys, you as a family? Because you've been in the upper Great Lakes region the whole time, whether Green Bay, Michigan, or Toledo. What's this area mean to you?
Yeah, we love the Midwest. There's such great sports communities. I come from a very small town in Hancock, Michigan, which, Michigan Tech University is right across the lake, and it's a great sports town area that I grew up in. They're very passionate about their Michigan Tech hockey, and then moving to Green Bay, it was, this little city with the big NFL team. And as soon as we were here in Toledo, we compared it so much the same. You've got the baseball and the hockey right downtown next to each other, which was very similar to how everything was set up in Green Bay.
Do the Walleye compare a lot to the Green Bay Packers in that sense, just in terms of the fan following and everything like that?
Yeah, because it's hard to explain how we have as big of a fan base as we have, but it's such a unique hockey community here, and I've learned more from talking to former Gold Diggers and Storm players and everything like that, and having them share their stories about their time here in Toledo. And you can see that it's a hockey market that, it likes to be compared to Detroit and the Red Wings, and, just a smaller version of it, but, great passionate fans.
Yeah. Was it intimidating when you came to a fan base like this, or were you ready for something like this?
Well, I mean, like the USHL, we had a great fan base in Green Bay. We ended up averaging around 4,000 fans a game, which was big for the USHL. But coming here, I think the biggest thing for me was recognizing and appreciating the expectations that came with this position. And Derek and Dan had put the organization in such a great spot. You wanted to make sure you picked up where they left off. And so for me, you always want to leave something a little bit better than when you found it. But that's pretty tough to do with everything that Dan and Derek had put in place here. But I think we've done a great job of representing the organization and this community.
Yeah. Back to Michigan Tech, you mentioned that earlier. I played for Michigan Tech. What's that university mean to you? What does kind of that area mean to you?
Yeah, it's obviously hometown. I still have a lot of family there. We spent a lot of our summers up there. And for me, my father had played at Michigan Tech. I got to play at Michigan Tech with my brother. So it's been a huge part of our family for years. And I love to follow the team still. They had a practice in our building this year before they went on to play Bowling Green. And just to spend some time with the staff and the players around it and see that they're keeping up everything that we hope for as alumni.
Yeah. Is there a rivalry at all with Bowling Green? Being in this area, do you have any love lost between Bowling Green and you?
Well, with the Michigan Tech and Bowling Green guys in our locker room, that's enough of a rivalry. So those players carry it pretty well. I think we have the 3 Michigan Tech guys right now and 6 guys with ties to Bowling Green. So when those teams are playing against each other, the players are pretty vocal about representing their alma mater.
Yeah, and you have that great core of guys who have been here. I don't think every ECHL team gets that luxury of having kind of the same core of guys year over year. It's only year 2 for you, but to have, the Hawkins, Spezia, Lewandowski, Bliss, those guys, what's it like having the kind of same core of guys back?
Well, I think they've been here chasing that same thing, and winning a championship is huge to them. And even talking as a group here in the last couple days about preparing for the playoffs and the kind of focus it takes to have that core group that's been around it and been so close. It means so much to them, but they know what it's going to take, and that's the biggest thing that our younger guys can learn from is this core, these guys that have kind of gotten this organization to where it is. They're also the ones that represent, how we're going to take ourselves onto the ice and how we're going to get through some of those really tough times. And when you get punched in the face, how you're going to get up and respond.
Yeah, Hawkins has been spectacular again. MVP last year, 40 goals, I believe. He's at 37 now, I think. What's it like having a guy like that who's been so terrific offensively and back for another year for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we laugh. I mean, like, his shot is just so amazing, but the pressure moments, the goal he scored in Cincinnati the other night, I mean, it's, you know, we had 3-4 good looks before that, and then he finally gets that look and scores with 2.5 seconds left. Yeah. And every team that we play against focuses on him, and he just finds different ways. And, you know, I think it's a credit to some of the things that Brent Bain does with him on the power play to move him around and make sure that we know we need to get Hawk his looks. And so, but it's not easy when your opponent is focusing on him. So there's a lot that goes into making sure that, you know, we're putting him into positions to be successful, but he thrives in that moment. The 2 overtime goals last year during the playoffs, it's just, he's a big-time player.
Yeah, I think tied for the lead in the league for goals. The 14-point lead, I think, in total points for the season. Is he the obvious choice for MVP again?
I have to believe so. You know, we, as coaches, just voted last week, and so I know all of the awards will start coming out here this week and along with next week. So I don't even know what day they'll get to the MVP, but I'll be shocked with anybody that puts back-to-back performances like he's done in this league that he won't be recognized for it.
Yeah, I think that would make him the first guy in about a decade to win back-to-back MVPs in the ECHL. So he's certainly one of those guys who's a candidate for it. So another guy that you guys added this past offseason, Jalen Smerek, he's been terrific, had a great season last year with Cincinnati. Now he's with you guys. What's that addition been like?
Yeah, I mean, Jalen's been in all those situations as well. And, you know, when he and I first met last summer, that's the first thing he wanted to talk about was wanting to play in very meaningful games at the end of the year. And so we're there now, and we're going to need to rely on him in these big-time moments as well. I don't think he gets recognized as much for his defensive game as he should. I mean, he's a plus 20-something on the season, which I think is top on our roster right now. So it's not only without the puck, he's first over the boards for those penalty kills. He's just one of those guys that we need in those situations, and we need him to thrive in that situation in the playoffs.
Yeah, we did a story on Jalen earlier this season. I believe Tyler Segman was the one who did that. Let's take a look at that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
You want to go skate around?
You want to take a lap? I know how much that means to the kids, so when I can, I try to get involved with the kids and try to meet as many as I can and sign as many autographs as I can.
There you go.
4 months in, and already the impact is evident.
Yeah, I got you.
Fish fans, young and old, are hooked on Jalen Smerek.
We're almost halfway through the year, and I still got people coming up to me telling me, you know, they're so happy that I'm here. It's awesome. It's lots of love, and it makes you feel at home.
An hour north in Detroit is where this 6-foot defenseman fell in love with the game, a family affair that would help shape his future.
I was actually a righty when I started playing hockey. I don't really tell that story too often, but I was a right-handed player, but I was always running around the rink, and then after my brother's practice, I'd pick up my brother's sticks, and he was a lefty, so I ended up becoming a lefty before I think I was like 4 or 5.
Not all childhood memories led to smiles, however. At an early age, he learned how to attack life above nothing else.
Coming from where I come from, you know, there's a lot of hate.
Although the ice has always supported Smerek, there were others who felt differently.
You know, kids will make, you know, jokes like, oh, you're the only black person on your team, but to me it was like, hey, like, I'm only a black person, and, you know, when people come to watch, they see that, and it helps me stand out.
Turning an insult into inspiration.
You know, I'd just love to see kids get out there and try something new and be exposed to something new and not shy away from it because, you know, it's a white sport.
In uniform, he currently leads the Walleye in goals and assists this season among Toledo's defensemen.
Giving out as well, doing a lot of stuff in the city.
Out of it, he's leading an even bigger charge.
Just trying to get, you know, more African Americans involved in hockey and just, you know, be a role model for the next generation.
Whether it be the Motor City or the Glass City.
Welcome to Toledo, bro. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Smerek takes aim at growing the sport any way he can.
Being able to kind of stay connected with, you know, the community in Detroit and connect with the community here in Toledo.
Happy to be home.
And, you know, it's just the best of both worlds for me.
What's your name?
So that was Tyler Segerman with that story. Tyler Spezia is another guy, core person for the Walleye. He'd been away up in Grand Rapids for a number of seasons. Now he's back. What's it like to have a guy like that with so much AHL experience back down here?
When he first started to show interest in returning to Toledo, we knew we wanted to get it done and had to find a way to get it done. And so it didn't take long because, I think Hawk was in his ear every day. So it was simple conversations, and all he talked about was how much he enjoyed his first experience here and knew that, we had a team that was right on the edge of winning a championship. And he felt he was a difference. And, we've missed him over the last 7 weeks now he's been out. And, we're looking forward to, seeing those legs again in the playoffs because he's just such a dynamic player.
Yeah, so the hope is that he'll be fresh, ready to go in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know when we're going to get him. We know he'll be cleared during the playoffs. And so, it's just a process of making sure that he's back to that 100%. Obviously, we don't want to risk another long-term injury with him. So we just got to wait for those doctors and Tyler's body to say it's time to go.
Yeah, Hawk, you just said, was in his ear the whole time. Those guys have a relationship going back a decade from when they were at Bowling Green together. Are there many relationships like that in the ECHL where two guys have been buddies like that for, even before Bowling Green, those guys have known each other for years, and they're two of the best players in the league, I think.
Yeah, they played their youth hockey together. They played roller hockey together. They are best friends. And so that's as unique as it comes. You run into the relationship where two players played college together, and you think of Sam Craigs and Cruiser and the way that they always want to be around each other. Sawyer and Bliss went to Michigan Tech together. They're extremely tight. So you have little connections, and I think those are important when we're finding the next player to fit into our locker room, is making sure that it's guys who can kind of speak on the other one's behalf, and this is somebody that fits into our culture.
Yeah, your goalie coach, Austin Kaiser, we did a story on this earlier in the year. I was very excited for this. He was an e-bug at one point, didn't get to actually play, but the fact that he suited up at all was very exciting. So we did a story about that earlier in the year. Let's take a look at that too.
So a crazy story, I went down for breakfast and the coaches were kind of making a joke that I was going to suit up, and it's been 8 years since I've actually put on full gear. And so I was at breakfast, they're like, no, seriously, we actually need you to suit up. So I was like, I'm ready to go, and it's an opportunity to get me back in the net. We had to mix and match the gear. So I was using their goalie's backup gear. I was using our goalie's skates, helmets, pants. So it was all brand new stuff. But yeah, it was like that morning at breakfast, they let me know that I was going back in. I'm excited. It's been so long since I played actually a real competitive game. And again, just having that feeling, being around the guys were unbelievable with it. But yeah, just having that feeling of just excitement. I wasn't nervous, I wasn't scared, I was just really excited. They really made me feel like I was one of the players again. They really just adapted to like what we're going through, and they just made me feel at home. So it was really comfortable. All my family's from Atlanta, Georgia. So I called my mom and dad, and they were ecstatic. My mom's like, we're gonna be watching the whole game and everything else, but they're really, really pumped that I got back in the net. So right now, I'm gonna have all the guys sign it, probably frame it up in my office and stuff like that, but I'm definitely keeping the jersey. It's unbelievable. I mean, just even working with this organization, being the first ever ECHL head, goalie coach full time, it's been unbelievable. The organization's been unbelievable, but yeah, it was a very, very cool opportunity for sure.
What does Austin mean to this team? What your perspective on that? He's
been a great addition. It was something that in the past the Red Wings would kind of have their goalie people come down and help us out, but to have somebody there every day and it's thanks to our organization. To make an investment into another coach was huge for us, and we reap the benefits with our goalies every day, and just to have somebody there that's a open ear to any thoughts that are going through their head, somebody that's going to give them structure, some video feedback. We're extremely fortunate to be able to have somebody with Austin's experience, but also to have somebody that's as low-key and easy to get along with and relates so well to the goalies.
Yeah, between him, between Hawk, Jalen, Tyler, all these guys, you have so many pieces there that I feel like, you guys are really making a push to get over the hump. Is this the team, is this the year that you guys can do what Toledo fans have been hoping for and get over that hump, get back to the Kelly Cup playoffs, or finals rather?
Yeah, I mean, this team, like last year's team, like many of the teams in the last, 8 years, they're good enough. And now it takes everything falling into place at the right time and staying healthy during a 2-month stretch that it's the hardest hockey the guys will see all year long, and we're at some point you need a touch of luck to go along with it. So we have a team that is prepared to do it. We have a team that will fight for it night in and night out, and we're going to need everything to go our way along the way to find that middle of June celebration that we would all love to be part of.
And I know a lot of people in Toledo are looking forward to that. So final game or penultimate game Friday, final game of the regular season on Sunday, and then after that, Kelly Cup playoffs begin. So Pat, thank you so much. I appreciate the time. It's been awesome.
No, thanks, Chase. This was reliving the entire season in one 20-minute span.
I appreciate that so much. All right, Pat Mikesch, head coach of the Walleye. That's going to do it for this episode of Chasing the Game. Be sure to check out our other episodes on the WTOL 11 Plus app. We're also on YouTube and Spotify. And we will see you guys next time.